Hey, how you doing? This is John, and welcome to John's Long Box. I'm here with the extreme artist known as Marcus Kellegrew, and it's clobbering time. How you doing?
Okay, how are you?
Good,
I
good,
saw
good.
you earlier today with Paul Thayer,
Yeah,
my
yeah.
friend Paul.
I scheduled that one when I forgot it was Thanksgiving or anything. I just was like, oh yeah, I'm free on,
That's all
on
right.
noon. So I've been letting people like pick whatever days they want because it seems to be hard to get people at noon or midnight, until I'm on the
Well,
schedule. So he picked that day, and then I was like, oh yeah, I'm off Thanksgiving. Who cares? It's good to
yeah,
have fun. Yeah.
yeah, I had his trade paperbacks.
Oh, what you think? That's issue 1 to 4, right?
That's the zero issue 1 to 3.
Oh yeah, yeah. What did you think?
I read part of it. I didn't read it all because I'm not reading it hard. I'm so busy. I liked it so far.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's 90s comics but with actual writing. So if you like 90s
Yeah,
image,
he's something else. We talked to him for a long time after Heroes Con. He's something else.
yeah, he could sell water to Aquaman.
Well, he was a salesman before, so
Yeah,
he's done. The difference is he does it all. He did the cons before he did the crowdfunding. So
right. Yeah,
like
yeah,
he did the
he didn't know anything
crowdfunding
about
way
the
later. So now that's just an add-on to what he usually does, right?
yeah, yeah. He does better in person at the cons. It the
Oh,
crowd.
he does terrific at the cons. It's unbelievable. I watched him. It's unbelievable. But
Yeah,
he'll discount a little at the cons. He'll say, "Oh, the price is 50. Here it is for 25."
right.
Take a picture of you. His booth is really exciting. His wife is there sometimes. She's real nice. I mean, you know, it was funny.
If Aquaman was on land, he could use the water. Yeah, right. Is that Aquaman's weakness? He'll die if he's out of water for an hour.
Over an hour. I thought he lost. Yeah, I think it's over an hour. At one time, I think they got rid of that.
Yeah, but I know Namor weakens, but maybe he'll die if he exerts himself. But hey, this is Paul Ferrantino. This is my friend Paul. How you doing, Paul? Come and pick up your comic.
Here, you want to see something else?
Oh, you working on the public eye? Cool.
Well, as long as it takes me to do it, I have plenty of time. I'm not rushing, but I do want to get some of it.
Is that the regular thugs or is that the Parkour brothers?
Those are those are the regular thugs.
Okay.
I kind of dressed them like a Captain America thugs I saw.
Oh, we
But
got
I
Tony
just made
Jr.
them 8 so I could see them better because it gets small.
Hi, gentlemen. I hope your Thanksgiving were good.
Happy Thanksgiving.
How's my mic? Is it all right?
It's too early to tell. Sometimes,
Okay.
yeah. The kids are asking for issue 2. I'm heading down to Maryland tomorrow, so I should have picked them up. Didn't know. Oh, okay, yeah, they're here. What Paul's talking about. Paul lives over here in Long Island, so he's one of my players. His character in my role play game is the Magnum, who has a cameo in issue 2, a big part in the Punchline story, and then a major part in Patriarch 3. Yeah, that's it. And I think Paul has another character that might be debuting. But Patriarch 3 is going to feature the super team that the Patriarch is on. So think of the Patriarch as like Captain America's solo title. Then there's Avengers, but issue 3 will be the Patriarch dealing with the crisis over there. Go to New York, so that the team will be going to New York. He's not happy whenever he has to leave Science City and his family to do his monthly meetings in New York. So he's always trying to skip out of town. The thug life. Oh yeah. There's thugs. Those were the thugs that I write, Marcus. I put 4 of them in the script, and then I was
it works a little better with 3. Yeah, it goes back and forth, but we're settled with 3, right?
Yeah, Paul. Do you want me to mail it, or do you want to come pick it up? It's up to you. It's up to you. I mean, I could drop it off on my way to work. Whatever you want. That's what I've been doing all morning is mailing out comics. Mail it. Schedule is a mess. Okay. All right. There you go. So he lives close by, and I still got to mail him his comic. Yeah, I got stacks of comics over there on the shelf for like local people, my friends, come and pick them up. All right. So that's what we're doing. All right. What else was I going to say? 2 Tony Grigos. That's weird. Oh, one froze. Okay.
Oh,
Back.
I'm back. Sorry about that.
Yeah, what happened? You froze, huh?
Yeah.
That's okay. Geez, I just got something in my eye. So anyway, this is a weird time only because it's Thanksgiving. We'll probably go back to midnight for at least another month or two. I know I'm going to be on the schedule until February, and the way it works is they do everything like quarterly. So every 3 months they release the money. So if there's money for this schedule again, they'll do it for another 3 months. So I have a feeling in February they're going to be like, yeah, everything's great, and then extend it for another 3 months. So who knows? Let's see. Trivia news is you just saw that Marcus is working on the Public Eye. Luke Stone he said he's gonna have another page for the Sleeper Agent done soon. One of the secret projects, and I say one of the secret projects, guy will be starting real soon. He's finishing up all of his stuff, and we'll get that fast tracked. Oscar is overloaded with coloring jobs. He said he should be done in a week or two, and then he's going to start drawing his portion of Eddie is Doomed. And once he gets going, he's really quick. And then I just got to see how Tonic Ball is doing. I really would like to get that out next year. But Renzo is on page 5 of the Patriarch. I'm going to try to have it as much done before we even announce the campaign.
I just want to say something about the Public Eye, if that's okay.
What? Sorry, what'd you say?
Well, I wanted to say something about the Public Eye.
Good.
Yeah, when I'm doing this, these are like what happened now. All right. I don't know if it blinked out for you. My computer power thing is jumbling around here. Anyway,
a little jumpy, but otherwise it's fine.
Oh, okay. Yeah, when I'm doing this, I'm not gonna be like. I want to get the penciling done. Basically, I'm not going to send them to you until you're ready. You don't have to sit there. Oh, I have to pay Marcus out. He finished a page. I'm not like unless we want to do it that way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'd rather.
I just want to get ahead. So, like, I know it's going to be a bit anyway, but it takes with the work schedule. I never know when I can work out stuff.
Whatever you're comfortable with, but I don't mind if you're done with the page. Get it upload, get it paid for, and then it's done.
All right. Well, I just to ink them. I had done the first page, so I had some ideas for this one. I tried to follow and fit everything in.
Okay.
I'll give you a chance to look at it first, and then know.
Yeah. Let me approve it first, and then.
Oh no, I'm not going ahead without
up in the file.
There's no. This isn't even. This is on just paper. This is not even official pencils.
I just want to show this off. This is going to be one of the cards, the stretch goal cards. This is going to be the first stretch goal card for Patriarch number 1. This is young Patriarch. So without the beard, his costume is different, young and idealistic. He's a little bit more muscular than I asked, but I guess Renzo wanted to make, because he's supposed to be like a rookie. So here he is, young Patriarch. So in terms of comic books, the Patriarch that you met is in Village Vigilantes terms. He's 20 years. He's 20th level. This is probably 4th level Patriarch. So there you go. And yes, he has the purple shorts on. He has it's like he's more traditional superhero inspired.
Right.
I'll remove that, and I'm going to give one more spoiler, just because I'm all excited. This is one of the villains from Patriarch number 1. I'll make that big. There she is. Anybody want to take a guess at what do you think her name would be?
I kind of heard you talk about it with Paul, so I'm not going to guess.
Well, I didn't tell her name.
Oh no, I don't know the name. No, that's true.
Yeah. Anybody want to guess the name? Tony, you know my theory about names.
Well, from what I can see, it's ancient Egyptian inspired, right?
Yep,
Yeah, so Bastet.
that's a good one. But Bastet would be a cat.
Okay. Oh, that's
Hey, that's a good
a
one.
new.
Yeah, she considers she says she's the daughter of Anubis,
Okay.
and so there's a little hint. But she's Queen Bitch.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah, I've heard that name before. I didn't think of it.
That's a good name.
Yeah, yeah, Queen because she's the queen of the underworld, daughter of
I
Anubis.
should have
Bitch,
remembered. I
bitch
read the
means female
story. That
dog.
was dumb of me.
Yeah, my wife rolled her eyes at when I told her that was the name.
There's a character in that video game Dispatch. Her name is Invisibitch.
So there you go. She's the those are the first two stretch goal cards. The third stretch goal card will be Captain Atlas, which is already done. And it seems like I always hit 3 stretch goal cards, and then the other 4 will be you buy them at the set. So there you go. This campaign I didn't realize, but a lot of people bought sets of cards, which is really nice. I got to learn. Think about like wrappers. How would I get like a pack of wrappers? Put the 7 cards in a wrapper. That would be kind of fun. But I don't know how to do it yet. So and that'll probably be expensive. And I'm thinking maybe as an add-on to get like magnetics, almost like magnetic color forms. You could put them on a different background with little word balloons. Fabrizio Aiello is doing that for
I
Horse
saw that,
yeah.
yeah.
Hey, we have Arkham in the house. How you doing, Arkham?
Hey,
Good.
Arkham.
How are you guys doing? Happy Thanksgiving, guys.
Arkham's also drawing a story for me, Greek mythology story inspired superheroes. How's that going? And you're losing weight.
Who, me?
Yeah, your face looks thinner.
I hope not, because I'm already down like 40 pounds. I don't need to lose too much more.
Luke Stone posted a picture on Twitter. I'm like, geez, that guy's getting skinny too. Everybody's getting skinny but me. I
You know
stopped.
who's actually getting skinny too, and surprised me, is a certain friend of ours.
Oh.
Not friend of ours, but friend of ours. And I've used to make fun of him, and then I saw him lately. I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to make fun of him because of this. He's doing something. At least
Good.
he's losing weight. Good
Good.
for him. He's doing something.
I lost about 25 pounds, and then the holidays hit. So let's see if I can maintain it all. So I think we filibustered enough. We got a bunch of people watching. I'll put the link in the chat one more time. I start, but I don't see it because I'm closed for me. Do you guys see the invite link? Like, is it constantly there?
Yeah, it's there.
Okay.
I saw it, yeah.
Like I said, I'm on StreamYard, so if I had YouTube open, it would just echo. So I don't see. But those of you who want to pop in, so this week, excuse me, we're going to talk about death-themed characters. Who's your favorite? And then we'll all pick one, and then we'll have like a little imaginary rumble. So I guess we'll start last in, first out. So Arkham, do you have a you can spam out whatever ones you want, then we'll pick them. Any death-themed?
Dead Man's always been fantastic.
I'm sorry.
Dead Man himself.
Oh, yeah, Dead Man, right on the nose. That's the yeah.
It's in the name. I've always loved him as a character. Just the idea of a person solving crimes by inheriting or possessing the body of somebody and going through different steps to figure out what's going on. I really like that concept. I think it worked really good for his books.
Yeah, I'm getting a good picture. This is the classic Dead Man picture. Yeah, I like Dead Man. Oh, why isn't it not popping out? I like Dead Man a lot. He was Boston Brand. He was a circus performer, and he was like shot in the middle of an act, right? Tony, right? Is that what happened?
Yes, sir. He was working for the same circus that the Graysons worked for. Actually, it was. I don't know if it was retcon. Yeah, but he was essentially what it was this assassin called the Hook was auditioning for a spot on Ra's al Ghul's League of Assassins, back when it was called the League of Assassins and not the League of Shadows. And he had to kill somebody, a random guy, but it had to be like a spectacular death. Like it couldn't just be like you couldn't just walk by a guy, shoot him, and keep on walking. It had to be high profile. So he chose Boston Brand. an acrobat who called himself the Dead Man because he performed without a net, without a safety net, without any kind of harness. He got shot through through the chest, actually through the rib, and it passed all the way through. I think right around here, and he fell to his death. And he was rescued by a goddess called Rama Kushna, who basically gave him the ability to possess people.
Right. Now, Mike, anybody like is there any historical accuracy to this Ramakrishna? Is she made up whole cloth for DC?
I don't know. I don't know I'm not going to say mythology. I don't know those deities very well, so I don't know. But I do remember, according to the comic books, the reason she did that was one of her students, one of her priests, was a guy called Jonah, who has the same powers that Boston Brand does, but he uses his for evil. And he had taken over the body of the second in command to the League of Assassins, a gentleman by the name of the Sensei, who was an old Asian martial arts dude. And that's who Dead Man was fighting for the beginning of his career. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And if so, the powers are his body's gone. He's just a ghost. He's just a floating, disembodied spirit that looks. And this is his costume that he wears. So he wears this flamboyant red outfit with the D, and then all the white is just white cloth. It was a mask.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he was killed wearing, and that's how he manifests himself. In the comic, a few times he was able to take off his mask and still look like Boston Brand, even as a ghost. But later on, I think this became his real look, if I remember correctly. And he floats around, and nobody can hear him. He can't interact with the people, and he enters into your body, and he possesses you. And just like the Invisible Woman, like traditionally they had the little dots, and they would make like the white, so we, the reader, could see where she is. What they did was they had like almost like a little yellow glow around the character that was possessed, so to remind the readers that this is Dead Man. And so like it was like Quantum Leap before Quantum Leap, right? Think about it. We got another guest. How you doing, Logic?
Hi.
Sorry.
We're talking about
Hello.
Dead Man right now. So he would possess people, and then the people that he possessed had no memory of it.
No, not at all. But he was able to completely override their agency and make them pretty much do whatever he wanted to. They were puppets.
But they were conscious and like aware.
No,
that
they had no idea.
But
They had
couldn't.
no idea that Dead Man took over.
Right, because I remember all of a sudden they would wake up and be like, "What am I doing over here?"
Yeah, right. I was just looking. I have the second trade paperback right over here, and I was flipping through it the other day. And
that changed over time. I mean, these characters have been around for 40, 50
well, I meant this is like in the 70s, 60s,
right.
late 60s.
When I started reading with these Neil Adams issues, and they reprinted them. In DC went through this little phase of reprinting, like they reprinted Manhunter, the Walt Simonsons, and then these Neil Adams Dead Man. That's what I read, and the people would all of a sudden be like, "What's going on?" Like Batman would be fighting a bunch of thugs.
Right.
And one of the thugs would be like, "Hey, Batman, don't hit me! I'm Dead Man," And then, he would walk him down to the jail, and then all of a sudden, like, "How did I get here?" He signed a confession and everything like that. That would be a horror character if people knew and couldn't control it. But at least
I remember he was always in Brave and the Bold, and I even remember these, where he would take over a guy and say, "Hey, Batman, it's me, Dead Man." And he was already taken. Batman had understood by then. That was always really weird. He's working with like these randos that he took over. And suddenly those guys would have these guys would always be like in really great shape. Be like, he didn't take over any fat guys, right? And they'd be able to do all the judo and jumping around. I'm like, how is that possible? So
yeah, that would be funny if he took over a big fat guy and he threw out the guy's back or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. How did I break my arm? Jesus Christ.
Guy wakes up in the hospital. What happened? I know you started fighting people. But it
Yeah,
really
exactly.
now that you got me thinking about it, like, has there ever been a writer that used Deadman in like a horror setting?
Probably
Kelly
Mike Barron.
Kelly Jones.
Kelly
He did
Jones
it.
and Mike Barron. I vaguely remember. I don't have that anymore. I read it once,
The
but
read this
that was
movie.
much more horror looking.
Yeah, he was really, 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 really skinny, like
Right.
literally skin and bones. Yeah.
Yeah, that was what he's supposed to be originally like that. He was supposed to be like a muscular Bones. Arnold Drake really created him.
No, it was Carmine Infantino. Arnold Drake was the writer. But yeah.
Yeah, but Drake came to Art Infantino with him. Like the
Yeah,
for what you know.
I saw an illustration of Deadman on a recent comic at Barnes and Noble that was grotesque. Yeah, I'm looking right now. Kelly Jones. If you look at Kelly Jones Deadman,
Neil Adams was the best one in my opinion. He really, really did that character well.
Oh,
Yeah.
he became Neil Adams' character right away, right after. Carmine Infantino only did one issue.
Yeah, Strange Adventures 205.
Right. And I'm trying to look up this. I don't think that to answer John's question. I don't think that
That's
is.
it. That's it.
yeah, at this point that wasn't a mask anymore. He was a skull. So the character did change. You know, a lot of characters change over time. I mean, the Batman that we read about today isn't the Batman that started back in the late 30s, early 40s. Superman is almost a different character. You know, all the characters change. Has any character stayed the same that's been around for that long?
Dick Tracy.
It's funny that you said that. I just ordered the Dick Tracy.
Well, that's partially because nobody can use Dick Tracy because Warren Beatty has a lock on it.
Oh,
Until
really?
he dies, yeah.
Why?
He's
Isn't
not
that
going.
public domain?
I don't know. He's got the rights since the movie. Like that movie, critical acclaim or not, that's what he wanted, how he wanted it. So,
Wow.
What
So
about the
I mean,
Submariner?
the Submariner's public domain. Believe it or not.
oh, he's been public domain, but nobody wants to fuss with Marvel. So,
Oh,
Right, yeah.
I just threw out his.
Yeah, the original Human Torch and the original Submariner are public domain. It's just that, of course, Marvel's not going to announce it, and I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. You know.
I'm just remembering the way he looked in Kingdom Come. Do you remember, John? His costume was tattered. It had holes in it, and he was just a skeleton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All Dirty Fatty says he disagrees. Jose Luis Garcia Lopez did the best Deadman. Well, now I got to look. I do. I love the Neil Adams. I mean, how could you not? Neil Adams just he makes comics. He elevates comics to another level. This is such a great take. This is just a horror take. I do love Kelly Jones, but now Old Dirty Fatty's got me curious.
oh yeah, no, Old Dirty Fatty's not wrong, but it's still in the vein of how Adams drew Deadman. It's just it's not different like Kelly Jones. He did the mini series. He never really had his own series. He was in Strange Adventures.
Oh yeah,
and he was in Brave and Bold, and he would guest star here and guest star there. But until that mini series in 1986, when I was in college.
Yeah, this is the classic Deadman.
Right.
Like right now, when you first said Deadman, Arkham, this is the image that popped into my head. Yeah, this is like that Superman pose with the eagle or Superman breaking the chains. You know what I mean? There's just some poses, like there's a Spider-Man pose. I think it was drawn by John Romita Sr., where his arm is foreshortened and he's shooting webs. Like every time I close my eyes, that's what I see. See, this is great. Yeah, I got to agree with you. This is probably my favorite, but I do like all the versions. I remember as a kid, we would drive in someplace. I'm in the station wagon, and we would always stop at a 7-Eleven. My mom always needed cigarettes, and I got a DC comic and it's just killing me because I think it was a Batman comic, but I think it was one of those Dollar Giants, so they filled it with other stuff, so it was like 100 pages or 80 pages, and it had Deadman in it, and it had those three demons, Abigaster, something, and Rast, with the bell, the wheel, and whatever, and I've always been looking for that. I would love to find that again. So if anybody knows this particular issue, it took me like 20 years to find a Flash issue, which was my very first comic. But anyway, I like Deadman. One of my favorite things about Deadman is if he goes to that city, Nama Parbat.
Nanda Parbat.
Yeah. It becomes he becomes flesh and blood while he's there. Yeah, I'm looking up Rama Krishna.
Yeah, I think that's just made up, but it's based on Buddhism.
Well, it was funny because I just put it in the chat because wasn't Rama the name also of the Captain Britain entity that
Rome.
Did you lose me?
No, I can hear you fine.
Yeah, no, that's Roma, right?
Yeah.
I'm trying to type in Rama Krishna to look her up, but it keeps correcting it to Krishna.
I did a search on her and it did pop up.
Krishna.
Stop changing it. There we go. Oh, keep talking. I want to show you something. This just came in the mail the other day, and I didn't open it yet. An unboxing video. Just turning into an unboxing.
Sure.
Oh,
nice.
Nice.
Yeah. I'll check that out later. It's not in the best shape, but it's okay. All right, so let's move on to the next one. Kyojo is saying Lady Death, so I guess we'll talk about Lady Death. I'll get an image of her. Anybody know anything about Lady Death?
I do not know that much about Lady Death, except she's got big chest.
Lady Death. Yeah, Lady
she's
Death.
One of the bad girls of the 90s.
If you ask me, she's probably the original one, right?
I think her and then she, yes.
Yeah, Shy or
Vampirella.
Vampirella was the OG.
Yeah.
1968, I think, or 69.
Yeah, I didn't realize.
Before Vampirella, there was Taurus.
No, that's true. But I mean, with that one, when they were creating the 90s, it was really for Lady Death. Evil Ernie, she debuted in Evil Ernie, and she just took off from there.
Yeah, 1989. You're right. She predates a little bit. Yeah.
And she doesn't, of course, but that's like Vampirella made her comeback because of that. She was the original bad. They had those bad girls too. Every year it does, but this was the one that really drove a lot of sales.
Yeah.
And then Billy did right after that. Like they're really good friends, Brian Pulido and Billy Tucci. So.
Yeah, Lady Death. She's supposed to be what I really don't know anything about this character. If Old Dirty Fatty, if you want to come in and tell us about this character, like I literally got to Wikipedia her. I think I have a few issues of her, but I was always just like, I'm not going to get these cheesecake comics. They can't possibly have.
I think you're right. I don't think that they were originally like they are Cheesecake Comics plus a real comic. But I wasn't a big horror comic, so I'm like in the same boat as you are about Lady Death.
We got an announcement. Hey, the last 2 episodes of It's Clobbering Time are available on the Madness Entertainment Roku channel.
Thanks, Pop.
So, Pops, thank you for reminding me, Pops. If anybody has Roku TV, look for what are they called? Widgets? I forget. I don't even know. But if you go to Madness, look up Roku. If you go to Roku and look up Madness, you could see It's Clobbering Time among all the other stuff that Pops and the Madness put on. A lot of cool shows. A lot of cool shows. Thank you, Pops, for doing that. I appreciate it.
I will look for other shows I cannot watch myself, so that is the end of that.
She has an animated movie on YouTube. Oh, I didn't know that. I have all those Lady Death books. Pops, tell us about Lady Death. I like the movie. Does she share the same universe with Vampirella? As far as I know, it seems like all of these characters, she, Lady Death, Dawn, they all interact with each other, but they kind of do like like an Image Comics thing. What just happened?
Yes.
They kind of do like an Image Comics. If the story involves them, they share the universe. If the story doesn't involve them, they don't share the universe.
So it says here she was originally known as Hope, who was a daughter of a cruel nobleman who practiced dark magic. After a series of tragic events, she traded her mortality for eternal life in hell, transporting to Lady Death, the powerful goddess of death. So that's her elevator pitch.
Yeah.
And she's had, Brian Pulido does not have control of Evil Ernie, but he does have control of Lady Death, who was published at CrossGen at one point.
Yes.
And my understanding is those guys just crossed over their comics whenever they wanted and make some flimsy excuse. Hey, we just crossed dimensions by accident.
Yeah. Like I know Eric Lawson says like Savage Dragon will have Spawn show up in the background of an issue. Robert Kirkman famously in the Viltrumite War has like all of the Image characters fighting against Viltrumites. But his theory is that that's the their versions of Spawn. So every Image comic is its own slice of the multiverse kind of thing. Coffin Comics, Lady Death is the flagship. Purgatory is also yes. So Brian Pulido is one of the pioneers of crowdfunding, if I remember.
Oh, he absolutely is.
Yeah, he'll put out like a Lady Death, and then he'll put out like what's his other character? He just told me Purgatory and Chastity, and then he'll follow it up. So he kind of has like a little rotating schedule.
He also crowdfunds on his own site now. He doesn't even use Indiegogo. Not Indiegogo, Kickstarter anymore.
Right. And he's the machine. I've been trying to get him to come on my channel. He just doesn't reply. He's in his own corner, happy, avoiding drama, doing whatever he wants, But he's been doing it now for, I'd say, 15 years?
Oh, easy.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah, Tony, you gotta mute when you're not talking. It just makes horrible noises.
Did Brian Pulido create Lady Death?
Yes, he did. Yes,
Man,
this version. I'm sorry, somebody else was talking.
I was just saying, I was adding it with the artist Stephen Hughes, who tragically died very young.
Oh, I didn't know that.
He died, I think he was 50. I'm not sure, because I know a little about like the history. Because that was kind of the same time I was doing my comic, Captain Courage, The Amazing Adventures of Captain Courage, and we had done the first story for a publisher, and we were paid. The publisher had an extra page, and we had finished our 8 pages, so we had a 9th page. So I created a poster of the 2 Captain Courage and Johnny Halo. Said, I need a 3rd character to fill this up. I put a flag behind him and everything. And I created Kitty Nova as kind of a little bit of an answer to the bad girls. This was a good girl, the stripper with a heart of gold, little bit of trope, right? And so it's stuck in my mind a little bit. Even though I didn't read them, they did inspire that.
Oh, cool. Yeah. I keep in my role-playing game, I have I don't want to tell her story, but I have Susie Nova, and she's like an outer space girl with a tragic story. And I'm like, oh, Marcus, are you going to sue me if I ever put her in my...
No, I tried to sue Lepresti and it didn't work out. Kid Carter, I'm like, come on. And they made a few jokes about that. But the bubble school, the Frank Frazetta Space Girl, Bollywood Space Girl is a trope. Everybody's got one.
Right.
You can ever sue. And you just got to make a cute name. Space Girl, Kitty Nova, Susie Nova, Kid Carter, whatever you could do,
Yeah. KO Joe just stated everything I know about Lady Death. What did he say? KO
Well,
Joe.
it's because it's weird. He has his own. He has his own audience, and they sell 100 grand every single time in a day or something.
Well, yeah. Well, Brian Pulido, man, like I said, he just puts his nose to the grindstone. He puts out his comics regularly. I don't know if he ships it by himself or if he has a fulfillment service, but whatever he does,
He doesn't charge shipping, you know.
yeah. Everything's built in, and then he sells like original art.
Oh yeah, he does do like 10, 15 variant covers.
Right. Yeah,
You
and
know,
he'll hire other people to do variant covers. He is just
He'll show up with
he does
Billy
everything in house.
He'll show up with Billy sometimes, you know, on that channel. And that's like, other than that, I don't really know him much, but they're great friends.
Yeah, I always sending
Great
him
friends.
messages to see if he'd come out. So I was watching a couple of his videos because I wanted to know more about him. He did a tour of his house. You know, he's got, you know, he's doing it. He is just a pro. I got a lot of respect for him.
He had the same trouble all these other guys did when comics died. Now, what's he going to do?
Yeah.
You know, and he found this. He's really good at it. Logic's Finest is in twice. Now he's back.
Well, I think there was a transporter accident on the Enterprise.
Well, if you're on the Enterprise transporter, Logics, I hope that your arms and legs are all in one spot, not swapped around.
Yeah.
You could never know on that transporting thing.
Don't get me started on the transport.
But no, I don't disagree with you on the transporter too. It makes almost no sense. You're literally dying every single time. It does not make sense. Yeah.
I know some people get mad at me, but it's just how do you explain Thomas Riker then if it doesn't create life?
You just don't. Well, yeah. Well, you know, it's a little. Everything's a plot. Like it works for the plot at the time. Right. You know.
If I was in charge of Starfleet Command, I would be like, get rid of the holodeck, and we got to work on that transporter because there's just they just create too many problems. Oh, and another pet peeve of mine is somebody brings this up like once every 2 weeks or so on Twitter. Why doesn't the Enterprise just turn off the engines and coast? Because once they turn off the engines, they can't surpass light speed. Light speed is not natural. They need the warp engines to bypass the laws of physics. Once they turn off the engines, they could drop below light speed, and then they could coast. But if they want to go warp 72, they need the engines on. That requires power. And Logic Finest dropped out again. I was going to ask him if I was right. He always corrects me.
I'm going to find out what Logic Finest first. I'm going to drive over there and fix his internet.
Yeah, there you go. Marcus, transport on over there. Just make sure that you got all your arms and legs and penises.
Yeah, that finger coming out of your nose, you know.
So let's see, Arkham. Tony, do you got a dead character or death themed character you want to bring up?
I have three.
Go ahead.
It's going to be one of the ones I thought of.
You know, probably my first one, the big one, is the first one, the Spectre, created by Jerry Siegel. Detective.
I forgot. He's created by Jerry Siegel.
Yes.
One of the creators of Superman.
The detective Jim Corrigan was murdered. His body was encased in cement. He was dropped into the Hudson River. And there he met God, and God sent him back as the physical personification of his wrath. So that's
the original origin?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Yeah,
I thought that was something that evolved later on.
No. He was a pretty serious character up until More Fun Comics number 74, where they turned him into sort of a jokey character.
Oh, really?
And he just sort of languished like that until around 1947-48, where the character just stopped being published. And he didn't reappear again until the early 60s, the JSA, JLA reunions that they would have. My second character would be Eric.
I wanted to talk a little bit about the Spectre before you move on, because this was going to be my pick, so I might as well talk about it.
Sorry about that.
No. So Jim Corrigan was killed in the line of duty, and for whatever reason, God decided to bring him back. He's literally a ghost. He doesn't have a body, but man, like, he's all powerful. You know,
what a great design too.
He can interact with people physically as Jim Corrigan and as the Spectre. He's like a weird ghost. Like his properties are ill-defined.
Right, to the point he's so ill-defined. He's like Dr. Manhattan. He could almost do anything.
Yeah.
You know, he could be bigger than planets. He could face, and then it was real gruesome. Like I wonder, like, how did they get away? Like, if a criminal was like a murder or something like that, like he would transform into giant scissors and cut people in half.
That was the Spectre from 55 to 73 when he was he would exact the wrath of God, and then afterwards
Yeah,
they paired him with a jokey detective called Percival Pop Super Cop, and he sort of became his guardian angel. He would sort of keep the that character out of trouble, and he just sort of became a second stringer in his own strip.
Oh, really? I didn't know about that era. That sounds like it wasn't too popular. But the Spectre is a character that I think a lot about because I think the Spectre suffered from being too powerful.
Yes, yes, he did. That JSA roster was incredible, absolutely incredible. The Spectre, Doctor Fate, Johnny Thunder. I mean, they were gods. They were literal gods. They could do
Right.
anything.
If
Yeah.
anybody asks what's the most powerful super team, hands down, it's the original
It's
Justice.
the original JSA.
Hands
And they
down.
didn't even officially have Superman in it. Only once in a while.
Yeah, I mean, if you know, like Johnny Thunder is a character that I've always liked. We'll talk about him someday, but I've always been kind of fascinated with Johnny Thunder, and I never felt that he was given the due that character deserved. He's a really cool, quirky, interesting character. But now Tony, I'm always impressed by your knowledge. I don't know if you actually do research or just you like comics so much you remember this. But in the year, like when he was part of the Justice Society, was he the all-powerful Spectre? Was he toned down?
No, he was at full power in All Star Comics #3. He was at full power there. Yes.
So you know, it's almost like, then why didn't you just end the war? You know, why did you know?
Yeah, they Paul Levitz took a stab at that, and the story he came up was Hitler found the Spear of Destiny and used that to create some sort of a bubble around the European Pacific theater to prevent superheroes from, doing the thing. But yeah, you're right. That JSA group should have been able to basically take care of the Axis powers within one issue.
Right. Yeah, I love this character. There's something about that green and white. It's just such a cool color scheme. Oh, looks like Arkham and I hope it's not me, but Logic and Arkham seem to be having a internet problem. Marcus, you got to be in two places at once. We need William Riker and Marcus Riker over here. Set the transporter to accident, or whatever.
Like the Spectre, that's just a great costume with the hood and the cape. The hood just makes it the green and white. It's never changed. It was one of the better drawn Golden Age strips. Bernard Bailey, and he always had like really great striking covers where he was gigantic and airplanes are flying around him. Which in the '60s they did that great covers by Murphy Anderson, like him smashing the earth over some.
I love Murphy Anderson is so good.
And Bernard also co-created the Hourman, another founding JSA member.
Hourman's another interesting character. I love. I mean, these aren't death-themed characters. We can talk about anything that pops up. That's the nature of the conversation. But I love the original Hourman. He was just a guy in a trench coat, like looking for action. You would put ads in the newspaper. The man of the hour will show up and solve whatever problems you got. And of course, later on in the '80s, they made him like he was like an adrenaline addict, and like a drug.
But into his pills, Miraclo. They made him into a junkie. Yeah.
But,
I'm not nuts about that. But when you think about that, he had to take pills. You knew it was just a natural. That was going to happen.
But not only that, like his whole reason was to get a rush. Like his motivation.
Yeah, he was really. Well, it's like that strip by who was that? James Robinson and Paul Smith. What was that? It was basically the JSA.
Of the Golden Age?
Yeah, everybody. It's really good, but it's like a little depressing because all these heroes are really miserable.
Yeah, I used to love James Robinson. I start to realize that Starman is probably the exception in his career. But everything else by him is just
Paul Smith is so good too.
Paul Smith is a wonderful artist. James Robinson did a 14-issue run on the Fantastic Four.
Oh, I've heard about that.
And it is just a downer until the last issue when they defeat everything and reset the status quo, and it's a good story, but for like 12 issues, I was like, man, what are you doing? This is just a slog.
His Golden Age miniseries was kind of a downer too.
Yeah, that's what Marcus said.
That's what I was saying. Like, it's greatly drawn, but the superhero is doing drugs and doing. I mean, come on. But I'm not big on my heroes, comics with that type of stuff in it. To be honest with you.
Yeah.
So my second one would be a more modern one that I actually grew up with.
One last thing about the Spectre. What did you think about Hal Jordan becoming the Spectre?
I thought it was lame.
Yeah, okay.
I thought it was terrible. Yeah.
I thought it was stupid.
There can only be one Spectre, and his name is Detective Jim Corrigan.
Right.
That's it.
I thought it was stupid. I thought it was just a mistake. And it's kind of funny that DC never references it again.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, they made such a mistake making him Parallax that they didn't know what the heck they were
right.
doing.
They really,
yeah,
DC is egregious about killing characters, bringing them back in such poor ways, but I don't know. I mean, it would have been better if Spectre just said, "Green Lantern's back." Boom. He could do anything we have if we accept the Spectre. But anyway, we can move on now. I just wanted to bring up that Hal Jordan Spectre. It was just so stupid.
Oh, you forgot about Crispus Allen. That was the third Spectre.
Oh, that's right. I did.
Yeah, nobody remembers him.
Right. Wasn't he like the Black Spectre?
Yes, he was the Black Spectre. Yes, that's what he was.
A great name, the Black Spectre. He didn't. He could become the Black Spectre. I think there is a villain called the Black Spectre, probably a Golden Age.
Probably.
And he's probably white.
Yeah, he wears a black jacket.
Yeah. So who's your next one, Tony?
Okay, the second one is one that I grew up with. I actually have all 4 of the original issues. Very expensive run to collect. Eric Draven, The Crow. The original Crow, the best.
The original Crow, yeah.
Eric Draven was a leader of a band. I forgot the name of the band, but one rainy night, his car broke down and he was assaulted with his girlfriend by a group of thugs led by a guy called T-Bird. They raped the woman and they killed him. And 1 year later, he comes back to exact revenge. That's a guy you should have on the show if you can, John. You should try to reach out to James O'Barr.
Okay, yeah. I never did because I never read The Crow.
It's great. You'll love it. Absolutely.
I just didn't like this look, and this was just a character that I just never liked.
His body was based on Iggy Pop. His face was based on Peter Murphy, the lead singer of Bauhaus.
There you go. That makes sense. I just didn't like the look. I know, like, I got Bauhaus records, and I was there at the beginning of goth music, but I never liked it. That's
a goth superhero, really, or goth Avenger.
Right. I remember in Albuquerque, my friend Tom was totally into the Crow. Every Halloween, he would dress up as the Crow, but every time we brought him up, I'm like, I never read The Crow. And he's like, oh, it's so good. But everyone, like, I think I might bow to pressure because everybody's telling me, like,
I recommend it. I highly recommend it. You'll love it.
It seems like a strip that you would like, yeah.
So anyways, his powers are invulnerability. You can blow him up, you can set him on fire, you can fill him full of holes, you can push him off the Empire State Building. He will not die. He will not die until he has exacted his revenge. In the comics, he is guided by a character called the Skull Cowboy, which is essentially a skeleton dressed up like a cowboy with a hat and his crow that has no name.
I don't know why, but it just made me think of Pat Broderick.
And they didn't do that for the movie, but the movie is such a great adaptation of this character. So great.
So would you recommend I watch the movie first? I never even watched the movie. That's how much
you should, man. It's great.
You haven't seen the movie, John?
No, I just don't like this character. There's certain character, I'm very stubborn. If I decide I don't like, I only read the Ninja Turtles months ago. Because Tonic Bowl embarrassed me. He's like, "What do you mean you haven't read the?" So I went and I I now and I can't find it. I have no idea where my first issue of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles went. It'll show up, but I got and I ended up loving it.
I was lucky enough to get all 4 issues and Caliber Presents #1 signed by James O'Barr when he came to Albuquerque in 2011. Had a chance to talk to him. Really cool guy, Yeah.
Yeah. So what is the first issue?
His first appearance is a 5-page preview in Caliber Presents #1, and then that leads to issues 1, 2, 3, and 4
of just the Crow by Caliber Comics.
Yeah, by Caliber Comics.
Yeah.
Try getting them though, John. They're quite expensive.
Yeah. I'll watch the movie. I know my wife likes the movie. What did you think of the remake?
It was garbage. All Crow films have been garbage, other than the first film. Yeah.
There's been one movie. That's it.
Yeah, that's the way I feel about Star Wars. There's only 3 movies. There's only 3 Star Wars movies. I don't even care that George Lucas made 6. There's only 3 Star Wars movies. Now I got to ask you, because I'm a pain in the neck. How does his name tie into his motif and power?
They never call him the Crow. The strip is named after the fact that bird is always around. That bird is his eyes, his ears. He uses that bird to find his prey.
And I believe
in fact, there's an iconic scene in the book that is recreated perfectly in the film. He's dead, right? And then the crow lands on his tombstone and starts pecking on the tombstone, and that wakes him up. And that's where he crawls out of he busts out of his coffin and crawls out of the hole.
Yeah, well, I mean, it makes sense because crows are carrion birds that, there was a Viking term, a crow feeder was a great warrior.
Mm-hmm.
So, you see the crows after the battlefield and things. So I guess that's how it ties. But I thought maybe this is how little I know of the character. I thought maybe he had like
in the movies. They were very specific when they were talking about how a crow escorts the souls.
Okay.
This crow kept the soul here on Earth, so it can come back for revenge.
Because my favorite bird is a raven. I'm fascinated by ravens. When I went to Iceland, I got to actually see how big ravens are.
Oh.
And a raven could mimic human speech, and they live for like 25 years, and like you could befriend them and everything like that. So I was trying to come up with like a crow type villain to fight my character, the Raven, and then I abandoned it because I thought everybody would think I'm ripping off this character, which I really know nothing about. So I don't know, But now I'm like, I'm kind of embarrassed. I didn't realize this was a death themed character.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I really know nothing about the character. So who's your next one, Tony?
Oh, the last one is easy and is the oldest one out of this group that we're going to have here probably. He is John Reed, the Lone Ranger.
Really? He's a death-based character?
Well, no. They tried to kill him. He almost died. Tonto rescued him, and then he came back as the Lone Ranger to exact revenge and to fight crime.
Okay, it blew me away. I thought you were going to say somebody else who I'm going to.
No.
mention him.
He was with his brother Dan Reed. They were a group of 6 Rangers, Texas Rangers. They got ambushed by the Butch Cavendish gang. They were all slaughtered except for John, who was found by Tonto, who nursed him back to health, and he gave him the idea to fight crime. And essentially, his mask, his iconic mask, is from the black shirt that his brother wore. He just poked 2 eye holes, and that's what he wears.
Oh, I didn't know that.
He uses silver bullets. There's Clayton Moore, the iconic Lone Ranger.
Right.
He uses his silver bullets from a silver mine that was willed to his brother, who, when he died, willed it to him, obviously. And the cool thing about this character is one of the rules that he has was the Lone Ranger never kills out of anger, but those that die with shame. So there's this great comic called Planetary. I know John knows what it is.
Yeah,
and one of those characters there is a character called the Dead Ranger. Essentially, it's Warren Ellis's version of the Lone Ranger. And in that book, they say that he would make his silver bullets and he would tip them with mercury. That way, if he would graze you, he would give you mercury poisoning. That's so he was actually, and I thought that was so neat. And I mean, that's sort of, you could almost see the Lone Ranger doing that. Now, there are two Lone Rangers. You have the Lone Ranger, the character was created by Franz Stryker. The character was the radio show, which is very tame. And then you have the pulps, which were written by a writer called Gaylord Dubois.
Okay, you're right.
That was a little bit more pulpy. He was, you know, a little bit more dark, those. And that the big reveal is that does anybody here remember the Green Hornet?
Yeah,
Yep.
Green here is his.
The Green Hornet is his nephew.
Right.
Yeah, and he sort of takes on he gets the silver mine, and he has his own ethnic sidekick, Kato, and instead of being
Kato's
a ranger,
Filipino.
yeah. But what I liked about the Tonto Lone Ranger relationship was they were equals, and I love that. They, you know, people would, I mean, they look at it now, it's like, oh, a white man telling an Indian to do stuff, and they're, you know, subservient Indian. No. Read the books, listen to the radio show. They were equals. In fact, if anything, it was Tonto that taught him how to survive. It was Tonto that taught him.
Well, that's the way it is. Learn two facts and start shouting. You know?
Exactly. Now, I hated before you ask me, John, I hated the Disney movie. They made the Ranger into an idiot. They made Tonto into the hero, and that's
the Johnny Depp one.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't even think I've seen it.
Now there was a halfway decent movie that was made in 1981 with Christopher Lloyd as Butch Cavendish. That one's decent, but not good. So far, I don't think outside of Clayton Moore, anyone's done a damn good job.
I remember many times. The memory that always persists with the Lord Ranger is we went camping once as a kid, and we had there's 7 of us, and my mother and my father and my grandmother. So we had this tremendous tent, and it just did not stop raining to the point my father we just tore down the tent, and we got a hotel room, and it was just like a apocalyptic rain, and we stayed in this hotel room. And then we did nothing but watch TV. And this was the 70s. So I just remember we watched The Lone Ranger, we watched The Adventures of Superman. I remember, this is getting funny, but I remember screaming in fear at Groucho Marx, not Groucho Marx, Burns and Allen, George Burns and Gracie Allen. We were just watching it, and all of a sudden at the end of the show, they turned and faced the camera and started talking to us. You know, they broke the fourth wall, and oh my God, did that freak me out? I guess it was this unfamiliar old rustic, it was like a cabin hotel, like a Bates Motel kind of place. The rain, the darkness, unfamiliar, not really. And all of a sudden the TV started talking to me. My family laughs at that every once in a while, but man, did that scare the crap out of me. So, but I always remember that, and with this, but I fell in love with the Lone Ranger. I mean, how can you not with that William Tell overture at the beginning? It was just so exciting. And then just to tie it into my friend Mike, who created the character of Colonel Marshall Strong, who's in my comics, we made a Western. Everybody made up Western characters, and he made Cole Pershing. And Cole Pershing was a Texas Ranger. And then if in real history, they decommissioned the Texas Rangers for a couple of years and then brought them back. So this was during that decommission time. And he went out and he found out that there was werewolves out in the woods by Texas. So he had to fashion silver bullets. And then it was funny because as soon as he made up this character, I'm like, he's the Lone Ranger. He's the inspiration in my comic book world. He's the inspiration for the Lone. And it was funny because I didn't tell him that. And then after he's making the silver bullets to fight the werewolves, he's like, "I'm the Lone Ranger, right? Am I the?" And I was like, "Yep." It was just fun, you know. Of course, I can't do that for my comics, but yeah, I've always had like a little love for this character. And look how cool he is. But Clayton
Moore, the company that owned the Ranger, treated him really badly. and took away his ability to actually go out.
I remember that. They wore
Yeah, so he would go out with Ray-Bans. Yeah, exactly.
Yes, he mentioned.
Wasn't he based on Lawman Bass Reeves, black guy?
Yeah, Bass Reeves. I did not know about Bass Reeves until that the Brightwisers comic came out.
Yeah.
And then I read the comic, and then I started reading about the real Bass. How that guy is not in a comic book before that is amazing. He's almost a superhero. Yeah, that guy's pretty cool. But Will Eisner's a spirit. Yeah, if Marcus doesn't talk about him, I'll be talking about him. That I had the Spectre and the Spirit loaded up and ready to go.
Well, I'll let you have the Spirit. I thought of something else. I thought that Tony was going to pick.
Tony, is this your third? Oh yes, you did the Spectre.
Yeah, third.
Okay, so Marcus, do you have?
I was picking this one, and I remember because the Spirit's really obvious for me, so I figured somebody else would do it, and I thought, well, Tony's going to get this one, and I remember in DC 100-page Super Spectacular, because they were early 70s. I got DC Comics, I just got comics, right? They always reprinted it. They reprinted Kid Eternity. Eternity. I remember Kid Eternity, and they brought him back here and there. And they made a Vertigo out of him, which kind of ruined him, of course, because that's what they did. And he's this guy, and I have to remind myself because he's really old, and
he's a Fawcett comic.
He's a quality comic, so it's possible. I don't know who. Let's see if they give him who created him. That nobody probably might not even know. It's possible if it's a quality comic that Will Eisner had a hand in it if it was at the right time. But he's a teenager who died in a tragic death. Christopher Kit Freeman, a teenager whose death in the 1940s was considered too soon due to a supernatural mishap. The supernatural identity, Mr. Keeper, would bring him to life as a superhero so he can uphold good in the world, destroying the power to summon mythological or historical figures by saying eternity and granting him ghost-like powers. So I remember a comic he would bring back, like Benjamin Franklin would show up.
Right.
I don't remember all the comics, right? Yeah, that's him. And I think he was drawn by Reed Crandall eventually. And so it's just really a unique character that, obviously DC bought all the quality characters and they retroactively connected to the agents of Lords of Chaos. And then they had in New 52, we became a young coroner able to resurrect the dead because that made more sense. But back then he'd say eternity and like Genghis Khan would show up and help him out with this case.
That's a good choice, Marcus. Yeah, I totally forgot about him. Good choice.
I thought for sure you were going to pick him because that's just such a thing, And he was in Hit Comics.
Yes.
And they had like Hercules and the Red Bee. The Red Bee, you got to bring back the Red Bee.
The Red, yeah. What did he have? One trained bee?
See, here's the issue. Like all those, I see all these Golden Age comics, and I see all these costumes. Forget what I don't know all the characters, and I know that Dynamite ruined them all. And I say, boy, I would love to draw these characters. Like the Green Llama, the Red Bee, Kid Eternity. There's just something about them that's a lot of fun. And then you look at Dynamite did it, and then Alex Ross did all the covers, and you're like, well, that's it. I can't do it.
Yeah, I remember when they brought him into DC, they made
or the one with the skull and crossbones that everybody likes,
the Black Terror.
The Black Terror, yeah. So
when
who created him?
Go ahead, Tony.
I was saying when they brought him into the DC universe, they retroactively made him Freddie Freeman's brother.
Right.
Oh,
the Captain Marvel Jr. Yeah.
What was his name? Freeman originally?
Yeah, Christopher Freeman.
I always saw this character. I got all of those DC who's who, and so I saw him. But the first time I read anything about him was in the Vertigo. They made an Eternity series. And it was right up my alley because at that point I was reading all the beat poets, and one of the first things they do is they brought back Neil Cassidy, and he was driving. Neil Cassidy was why can't I think of the character's name? But in On the Road, Jack Kerouac, Sal Paradise, and why can't I think of? But Neil Cassidy was the other guy that they traveled with, and he did all the driving. So Kid Eternity and Neil Cassidy are driving across the country, and it was right up my alley. And it was, 80s. I don't even know the word. Like, it wasn't true to the character or anything. And then I went back and started reading more Kid Eternity. It didn't have that innocent charm. They made it more like, I don't know, subversive.
Of course they did, but everything in the 40s had innocent sharks. They didn't know really what they were doing. They were taking like awful ideas for characters, and they become characters. And then Kid Eternity would be one of them. And he had that red sash, real simple. And they always draw him as a kid.
Right. You know what? How about this? How about this for next week? Public domain characters that we reimagine.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Okay, what do you guys think about that?
Arkham,
are you there?
I'll have a crowd.
Okay, you are moving. I thought maybe you were frozen. All right, so we'll do that for next week. But yeah, I never read the Vertigo stuff. So yeah, this is a good one. He could put like Genghis Khan. I remember he pulled like Isaac Newton. Out of
all that, and they would repeat. You'd get a Batman or Brave and Bold 100-page super stack in the background. In the back would be Walt Simonson and Archie Gould was Manhunter. And they'd have all these great reprints like Tweedledee and the Batman by Dick Sprang, Tweedledee and Tweedledum. I remember that. Like, these are vague memories, right? And there was a couple issues with Kid Eternity. And those super spectaculars, that's what kept the history of comics alive, is stuff like that,
Yeah. Like I said,
reprinting this stuff.
Yeah. DC for a while, if people don't remember, they were afraid that they were going to get kicked off the newsstand from magazines because the magazine the newsstands were saying magazines, we get more money from them than comics.
That's exactly what did eventually happen. But yeah,
so DC just said, okay, instead of making them a quarter, we're going to make them $1, so that the newsstand would get 50 cents per sale, and then that's the way it was 50-50, but they had to pad out the comics, so they would just reprint older stuff, so that's why all of a sudden like a 2 or 3 year period that all DC comics were dollar comics, and that's what I thought DC meant as a kid, dollar comics.
And John, as for the death related characters, is this specifically heroes, or we're talking about just characters in general?
Characters in general.
I'd like to bring up one that was a death character for a while, but then the writers kind of went away from that moniker and really screwed him up, and that would be Thanos.
Oh yeah,
when with the death of Captain Marvel specifically, that's the one I'm talking about. Jim Sterling and Jim Shooter, I believe, did that. He was literally the kind of like the avatar of death that was guiding Captain Marvel through his life at the end. And that was probably one of my favorite Thanos stories ever. Even though it's the death of Captain Marvel, seeing him look at Captain Marvel as he's dying, because he's already died. And he realizes, that his greatest adversary and warrior is about to join him in a way he didn't want to. They're supposed to kill each other in battle. And now he's dying of death. So he comes and he shows himself. I love that series.
I know this is going to sound so hipsterish to say, but I love Thanos before the Infinity Gauntlet. I think the Infinity Gauntlet just made him too powerful. And I just have this thing. Once a character gets too powerful, it takes away the tension and the drama. Thanos.
I agree. But with Thanos specifically, why I enjoyed him, especially during that same era that you're talking about, is when I forget who he had the dialogue with. This is, of course, as we know, the Infinity Gauntlet came in, 10, 15 years after the death of Captain Marvel. So Thanos wouldn't even appear until Silver Surfer, I think, like in Silver Surfer 30s somewhere, when Ron Lynn brought him back. I absolutely loved him. The fact that why I like Thanos so much is he has achieved that power level, and subconsciously has always let an escape route to be defeated. He always subconsciously leaves himself to be defeated.
Yeah.
Because omnipotence is boring.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know, Thanos is just an abbreviated version of Thanatos, the Greek god of death. I mean, he is literally, and his twin brother is Eros, the god of love, so it's, love and death, the whatever. He when he first came out, he was not an Eternal, and then they kind of retrofitted him into the Eternals. It kind of worked pretty well.
Was it Ron Lynn that did that?
I don't know exactly who it was, but Jim Starlin made him. He came from Titan. There was a group of beings on Titan, and then retroactively they were like exiled or renegade Eternals. And then there was another splinter group that lived on Uranus, not my anus, Uranus. You know, and it makes sense. It makes sense that these godlike beings would colonize the solar system. You know, and then he was born the first ugly Eternal. Now Marcus, did they? I'm sure you might know. Did I misread this? That they retroactively said that he was like part deviant, part Eternal? They did.
Yeah, okay. Well, all that's retroactive. That wasn't. He always connected to Titan, and his brother was always Star Fox. What became the Avenger Star Fox, who was Eros. That's how, and Thanatos. That's exactly how Jim Starlin wanted him to be, but they had where did these race of gods come from? And so they were all made Eternals. Why he was there was no reason for years why he was the ugly one or came out the way he does until they decided he was half a deviant. The deviants could come out any way. You could have if you were two human-looking deviants and they procreated, it could come out a monster because that's how the deviants were. There was no two deviants that are the same.
Right. Each deviant is its own unique species. The only thing that deviants share is the fact that they can breed with other deviants.
And I think also with Thanos, he's the only deviant that was born out of two pure blood Eternals.
Right. Yes. I mean, there's got to be a reason why he looks different, but like, I forget. It probably happened after I stopped reading Marvel, but it is a great character, and it really is a death-themed character. I mean, his name is literally.
I
Death.
got one more.
Oh, just like Mephisto is the short version of Mephisto, you know, Mephistopheles. Thanos is the short version of Thanatos. You know, he is a good character. They did him dirty in the movies. That's one of the things. Like I really think that they just probably thought that this was too scary for the average audience.
He was Thanos like
serial killer who was just obsessed with death. That's what they should have went with, because they made a terrifying, unstoppable psychopath into a moron. Like, he was just a powerful moron in the movies. His plan was stupid. You know, how long before the universe you have infinite power? Why not just make infinite resources? Or why not just reduce the?
Oh, we can go all day on that one, John.
I know
that's a podcast in its own on that one.
Right. It's just so stupid. Any characters from Neil Gaiman? Hold your beer. And I got to address a super chat from down under in New Zealand. Best themed death is the Crow. Yeah, we already talked about it. Tony brought up the Crow. I didn't realize he was a death themed character. That's how little I know about the character. So you got another one you want to talk about?
Just one really quick, and I think you guys will like him too. He is a death character, but in a different way. The Phantom Stranger.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Oh yeah, right. The Phantom. You're right. The Phantom Stranger.
But he did have to. Technically, he did die, but then he was brought back to pay penance for what he did with the 12 coins of silver around his neck. 12 pieces.
Yeah, I think that's right, Arkham.
Yeah, for what he got paid for selling out Jesus. You come to find out that Venom Stranger is actually Judas.
Or is he?
I think he is.
I got one.
Yeah.
Oh, keep talking about the Phantom Stranger for a second until I get an image.
Okay. Tony, you want to say something about the Phantom Stranger? We're going to add.
Well, that issue you were talking about, they said he was Cardophilus. They said he was Judas. But I like the third one that Alan Moore did, where he was one of Lucifer's fellow angels that participated in the war in heaven, and his penance is to never be welcomed in either heaven or hell. So that's why he has to keep walking, because he has no home.
I can see that one, but I kind of like the fact that he actually has the silver coins on his neck, and that was the permanent. Every time he does something. A repentance, one of those coins disappear.
Okay, that's
but
pretty
it has
clever.
to be a real, not just like, hey, I saved a cat, boom, it disappears. No, it has to
And this was an
cosmic
interesting
level.
character. Yeah.
This is for those of you who are wondering why we all disagreeing on the origins of the Phantom Stranger, is because that's the way DC made it. There was a series called Secret Origins, and they put 5 origins, and they never told us which one was the definitive one. You know, one was he was the fallen angel. One was he's the wandering Jew. One was, how do you say his name?
Carter Phillips.
Carter Phillips, and one, yeah. There's another origin that I even forget, but like that's part of his mystique is we don't just like he shows up and people just like, oh, it's Phantom Stranger. He's the last survivor of a dimension, and another guy's, that's not his origin. This is his, and the Phantom Stranger he's a stranger. You're not supposed to know about him.
And he started on like a host, like a crypt keeper.
Right.
That's what his original series was in the 55 by Carmine Infantino and John Broome. Later on in the 60s, he had a more proactive role as a paranormal investigator, eliminator kind of a thing.
I just love that spooky fedora wearing, trench coat wearing guys. You know, Neil Gaiman brought him back. That you know, my big exposure to him was in that it's Swamp Thing, when all of the occult characters got together to have the seance, and the Phantom Stranger guided Swamp Thing into heaven to battle this primordial darkness. I freaking love that story. I think I did like 2 videos on that. That's Swamp Thing 50, the Saga of Swamp Thing 50, one of my favorite comics of all time.
You know what I would have liked when Tony brought up the whole fallen angel aspect? Instead of being one of like Lucifer's soldiers, I think it would have been better him as been one of the angels that refused to get into the fight. And that's why he's not allowed in heaven or hell. He never picked a side, so now he has to walk the world of man. I thought that would have been a much better. See, Grant Morrison needs to hire me as an editor.
Yeah. I know that they Neil Gaiman had him as one of the guiders for Tim Hunter.
Trenchcoat Brigade.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up. The unfortunate, because the trench coat brigade, and then there was the Columbine shooting, and those guys called themselves the Trenchcoat Mafia. So that kind of put the kibosh on that. But there was a Dr. Occult, Mr. 13, John Constantine, and the Phantom Stranger.
Mr. E.
Oh, Mr. E. So the Phantom Stranger, I think, was the one who like brought him to the Trenchcoat Brigade and then disappeared. I always kind of thought like the Phantom Stranger was like a superhero version of like Hermes, or like, you know, like maybe like the Messenger, the Psycho Pomp or whatever. But he never really actually did anything. Maybe in those, when he was like the Horror Host comic, did he shoot laser beams or anything like he just kind of showed up?
He did that in the 60s. That was when Jim Aparo drew him. Yeah, that's when he did stuff. You know,
he showed up in the Justice League a few times, and they tried to make him a member, and he would always just kind of disappear.
Yeah. He's, to me, he shouldn't have his own comic. You know, he should just be the guy who shows up everyone's. It's like having a comic book about the Watcher. You know, a comic book of what, you know, what if it's just the Watcher telling us about other stuff. You know, he's like a Rod Sterling. You know, he's a host. And if they ever really definitively explain him, then I think it would diminish his character.
I have one more.
I just addressing these comments. Neil Gaiman's most current death theme character is the terrifying career suicide. Who would have thought that a feminist was a wolf in sheep's clothing? Who would have thought? Kevin Spacey and Harvey. Oh, geez, this is getting dark. RR. Let's see. That's all the comments. So, who said they had another character?
Me.
Okay, what do you got?
Vlad Tepes, Count Dracula.
Okay, I'll bring up a comic book version of him.
Court. Now, I'm going by the novel, which I think was pretty closely adapted by Marv Wolfman and Gene Colan, the character-wise anyway, for the Tomb of Dracula series for Marvel. He was a man that was cursed with vampirism due to making a undead pact with the devil. He has all sorts of magical powers. He is a sorcerer. He could change his shape. he could turn into mist. He could turn into fog. He could turn into animals. He can hypnotize you. He can influence the weather.
Yeah, what was the word that you used? I was looking that up. That the school of magic that he joined.
So Illuminati.
Yeah, the Illuminati. Yeah, I looked it up. They were supposedly like at any point at time there's 13 Illuminati. There's 13 students.
Yes.
And when Satan is done teaching them everything, they all run out of the room. And the last one out of the room, Satan grabs.
He claims as his own. Yes.
Yeah, I freaking love that.
And it's based on Solomonic magic, essentially. A few people realize that King Solomon was a magician, a sorcerer. Yeah. So he has all these powers, and that sorcerer's powers. He's undead. He's nearly unkillable. So I would put him. I mean, he's probably one of the greatest villains ever committed to the page.
Yeah, I mean everybody's got a Dracula story or a movie. Everybody knows Dracula. He's got to be easily as famous as Superman. Like he's got.
Yeah, I think so.
He's got to be one of the top 10 most popular fictional characters. Up there with like Sherlock Holmes, Dracula. Yeah. King Solomon, he imprisoned 77 demons, and he tricked Asmodeus to help him build the temple. I've been doing a deep dive on Solomon because I have a character based on ancient Israel that I want to.
That's the statement like every week. Well, I've been doing a lot of research on this guy because I'm gonna have a character.
Right. Yeah. That's what I do. Like I
I love it.
I'm always reading. I'm always listening to stuff.
No, I love it. It's great. It's great. I mean, it's like when we're watching a movie, and I don't mean to digress, but my wife is watching this show, The Beast Within, with Claire Danes. It's very good. And she's watching the show, and I'm watching the shot. It's very noir, so I'm watching how they did the shadows, how they did the shots, and all that. And you would create a character out of it, the opposite way,
I don't know. Like, I hope I don't come across as like I don't know, pretentious or whatever. But like,
no, not at all.
I watch stuff and I just get inspired by everything. Everything is like I was just saying the other day. I was at work, and everybody at work, they're into sports, they're into gambling and everything, and I'm not into. So I was just being quiet and observant, and they don't realize this, but their entire conversation is going to be one of the henchman's thugs.
Right. But that's
like one of my pet peeves is when Spider-Man goes into the warehouse and Dr. Octopus just happens to be explaining his master plan. So I think it would be funny that like the public eye goes into the warehouse, hides, and he just hears mundane conversations for hours before anything useful comes up. So that well,
that's how it's supposed to work. That's why they do. That's why you see they put, the FBI or CIA or whoever goes into your house and puts in a bug, and they hear, "Hey, honey, what do you want for coffee?" "I would like some eggs over easy, thanks." And they're waiting for, "What are you going to do today?" "Well, I'm planning to kill our neighbor next door and then, crowdfund money off her," or whatever it is.
Right.
That's
and then,
what they're waiting for.
Like you always cut to the two FBI guys like falling asleep in the hotel room, with pizza boxes, and then one of them wakes up when they realizes this is pay dirt.
Right, exactly. So, I just found it fascinating, John. It wasn't a criticism at all.
Yeah. But I don't know, like, how are people not like? I know Tony's a creative guy, and everybody on this panel is a creative guy. Like, I hear something, and I just wish I could draw. Like, this is going to be weird, but I just read this today, Roy by Gilbert Hernandez, and all I could think of is. You wasted how much time drawing this?
Which one is that one? Oh yeah.
Like
I've read a lot of their stuff, and it's rough and it's pornographic, and I'm wondering why they're doing it.
Well, this is like family friendly, this one, but it makes no. All I can think of is like Gilbert. You got to be like pushing your late 70s. This is what you're choosing your time with. Like I if I hit the lottery, you better believe, like, I'm hiring everybody because I got like 1,000,000 stories.
Oh,
I want to
know.
get the transporter operative and make a bunch of Renzos. Just mass produce Renzos. We got comics to make.
Oh, Dirty Fatty said you're post-tentious.
Beast Within was a great movie. Oh, this is Arkham. Okay, I never heard of it. I got to check it out. I'm post-tentious. Yeah, me and Fabrizio are trying to come up with the comic to talk about. I don't feel so bad being this rusty.
What comic could you talk about? Well, Love and Rockets would be a good one.
That would be a good.
I could imagine he had to have read Love and Rockets. So.
Yeah, that's. But like, I don't know. It's like as much as I love and Rockets, it's like this is what you chose to do with your time. I don't know. It's like
yeah.
I got 3 comics that Renzo has to work on in a particular order, and I just wish we had like time to make it faster. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's like, come on.
There's only one Renzo. Until you find somebody that scratches the Renzo itch for that type of style, you hire people by style now.
Well, it's funny because when I think of a character, like I literally thought the public eye should be drawn by you. There was no.
Well, I appreciate that. That's kind of amazing.
And Arkham Star, I don't mean to hurt Arkham, but I wrote it for somebody else who didn't like it, and then I didn't even know Arkham even drew until he showed me.
I remember that day. I would remember that.
I was like, oh my God, this story is for you, and I think it worked out. Not to be mean to the other guy, but this is just like a happy accident. I think Arkham's style.
How could somebody not like a story?
It's better than the other guy, and the other guy's working on something else that he's just tickled pink to do, and he asked me.
You want to see a preview of page 4?
I'm sorry.
You want to see a preview of page 4?
Sure, preview of page 4. Tony, when are you going to start drawing for me? When are you going to learn how to draw and start drawing for me?
I can't. You don't want me drawing for you, man. I make stick figures look bad. Oh, that's beautiful.
Well, yeah. He knows where this is how I do. I always do layouts like this. I get to look kind of like a movie where I do the storyboards first. And then with what John says, I have to figure out how to portray that per panel. Sometimes there's images I don't like, so I'll just delete it and start over brand new.
I got to say, Arkham, out of all of the guys, Marcus kills himself the most for drawing.
Killing my I don't. It's just the way it is.
And then Arkham is the second most. Just. I feel so bad of how much effort you guys are putting in. Like, not that I want you to, you know what I mean.
A lot of it's the love, though. If it was just a paycheck, we would just be throwing you whatever and be like, there you go. There it is.
Just Renzo, I'll be like, hey, Renzo, could you do this? Okay. And like the next day it's done, inked. I'm like, how'd you do it so fast? He's like, I'm working for 6 people. I gotta produce. I'm like,
that's all he does. I wish I didn't have to drive for 8 hours. I wish I could do it all day. You'd have it all. I don't know if I'm fast or slow. It's like, are you a fast artist? I go, well, I don't know. I mean, because I can't sit down and figure that out.
Because somebody asked me to write him a story, and I was like, I got to finish fulfilling these books first, and then I'll write you the story. But it's giving me time to think. I already changed my mind, so it's working out for the best that I didn't just start writing. But if I didn't have to work, I think I'd write like a rough draft a day, to the point I'm like, oh yeah, I wrote that story 6 months ago. I just think it's fun. To be not to be controversial, but I'll be controversial. There's somebody that just pesters me because he uses AI to write his stuff, and all I can think of is there's so many reasons to be annoyed by this, but to me the most annoying is that's not fun. It's just
I don't understand that. Story. I don't understand that at all.
It's like me going over to Tony's house and stealing his script and then claiming I did it. That wasn't fun. Like the whole fun part of it is I think up an idea, I bash it around in my head for a little while. I write down an outline, then I write a story, and then I realize what I wrote is completely different than the original one, and it's better and it's fun. And then I see Marcus drawing it, or Arkham drawing it, or Renzo drawing it, and then Oscar colors it. Next thing you know, I'm mailing it to people. That is so much fun. How can I just talk to Grok and say, like, write me a story 13 pages long? It's I don't know. I don't want to read that. I don't want to. It's just not fun. There's a million other reasons why you'd be against it, but to me, that is the most egregious problem. It's because some people just want the accolades, the acclaim. Maybe they want the money too, but I can't imagine it selling that well.
I don't think if I'm thinking about who you're thinking about, I don't think it is.
Would
I'm
argue
not
that
gonna
auto
say
characters
either.
like Vandal Savage are separate and opposite category. Yeah, I don't know if Vandal Savage would be a death themed character. He's almost the opposite.
Right, but none of his. The reason why I brought Vandal Savage up in the chat.
Oh, you brought it up.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was just saying we didn't even talk about him. I consider him death because of the fact that he keeps dying over and over again, coming back, and nothing he does is to prolong life. He's just cursed with it. He's always looking for death.
Hela, that's a good one. Nobody talked about Hela. I mean, literally the goddess of death. She's great, man. I gotta say, as
Necron. We talked about some of these people last week though too, like Necron from DC. There's all Mephisto. There's other Satan in the Marvel universe. They have like 6 Satans, depending on what, including Death herself. That was
Marcus. Isn't Necron like DC's Death?
Yes,
like the physical and body.
And there's Death, and there's Neil. Well, we didn't even get to John, so I'm sure that Neil Gaiman Death is coming up.
I was going to just say, I think one of the best casting in all of Marvel was Kate Blanchett as Hela.
She was really good.
Tell me she just didn't eat the scenery when she was.
She
was really good.
She
had fun with that role. You can tell.
Not the best.
I like Anthony Hopkins too, because he's so good that he makes every role good. He didn't mess it up, whether you thought he was good, the right one or not.
I remember I was upset when he was cast.
Yeah.
But he treated it like a Shakespearean play.
Exactly. Kenneth Branagh directed that first one. And that's underrated. That first Thor is underrated. To me, I enjoyed the Thor movies. They got the worst reviews at the first run, except for Iron Man 2, which is pretty bad. But I like that too, because the Black Widow was treated well. Like, people see different things, but I always liked Thor. It just wasn't. It was darker than a superhero book. I enjoyed it. I didn't think
the Dark World was that bad.
No, I like the Dark World. I agree.
Iron Man 2
was a different story, and I like some of that too.
Iron Man 3 is the one everybody hates.
I did. It was, yeah. They didn't like 2. They didn't think 2 was good as 1. 1 is really good. I mean, that's hard to live up to that.
Iron Man 1 is probably the best or second best Marvel movie, with Captain America, depending upon.
I'd say Captain America has the best slate of all the movies, out of all the series.
Yeah, Captain.
People like Winter Soldier the best, or even Civil War. All those Captain America / with the Avengers in it are good. Yeah, I love Captain America. That was one of my favorites. Absolutely.
So we're going to go to the obvious one. I'll pick my obvious death themed character. I'm surprised. But then again, Death from Sandman.
I saved that for you.
I know Neil Gaiman is a problem these days, as the SJWs would say, he's problematic. But I'm not going to lie and say that I dislike I loved his stuff in the 80s and 90s. As broke as I was in the 80s and 90s, I still made sure that I got Sandman every month. I loved that I still like it. I know it's woke, but it was proto woke, and it didn't really bother me so much. They had transgender characters, and it's funny because Foxglove, the transgender character, was not allowed to travel on the moon's path because he had male chromosomes. So therefore, the moon itself said that he was a male. And Neil Gaiman gets crap on that, and he says that wasn't me. That was, that was the. So you're telling me, Neil, that the embodiment of the moon is wrong? You know what I mean? Like, you were making an objective fact in your world, and now you're walking back because it's not popular. But that's besides the point. It was an interesting comic. It was an interesting exploration into places DC never went. They had Superman and Martian Manhunter and even comics. He treated them well, but for the most part, it was its own thing that he played with so he didn't really mess with anybody else's characters. So that's fine. You want to make transgender characters, make up your own ones, and that's what Neil Gaiman did. And he went through Roman history, the French Revolution. He explored a lot of cool times and places with this character, the nature of magic, the afterlife, and imagination. I really, really liked it. I recommend it. Now, I haven't read it in probably 25 years. I wonder if it still holds up. But it got me interested. Like Dr. Destiny is John Dee, based on the Queen Elizabeth's scryer and the original 007. Like that's the kind of stuff it got me interested in reading about. So it put me on this path of reading about alchemy and philosophy and all this stuff. It really was an important comic to me. I'd put it up there with the Doom Patrol by Grant Morrison, two guys that, and Alan Moore's Swamp Thing. Like these comics really hit me at an important part. So I'm never going to say anything bad about the comics. Neil Gaiman, on the other hand, that guy could drop off the face of the earth as far as I'm concerned, because my personal experience with him is I should have got the quote, but he on Twitter said the problem with comic book movies is people want to see the character that they love, that they read about. And since comic books are a visual medium, you've got to make the comic book, the movie version, look like the comic book character. When you make a Batman movie, nobody wants to see a guy in a yellow trench coat with a pet bat. They want to see the character that they've been reading about. That's Neil Gaiman's actual quote, paraphrased for bad memory. Then he goes, and they have the Sandman Netflix show, and this character that we're looking at, Death, is portrayed by a black woman. And,
yeah, I remember that.
And she's a frumpy, as the kids would say, a mid, And so I just said, Neil, didn't you put, and I quote I said, didn't you say this? And then you cast Death. I said, this character, she's one of the seven endless, and these seven endless are abstract concepts, and they're black and white. So she's not a Caucasian; she's alabaster white, And then her
she's not a white, right? She's not a white person at all, right?
Right. She's not human, and their eyes have like black, infinity reflected in them, kind of things. So she's life, but she's also death. Dream is also reality. Destruction is also design. Delight is also delirium, and despair is also I forget the opposite, like hope or whatever. So the dualities. That's why they're black and white. So I said, you made these characters that are dualities, absolute white, absolute black, and then you cast this woman, and what do you think his response was? You're a racist.
You're a racist. Yeah,
right.
I think you told me this.
Like, it's so I just screw this guy. Like, he knows what I'm talking about. He made up these characters. He explained the nature of these characters. And I don't care if he cast a black woman. She should have been slathered with alabaster body paint. You know what I mean? I mean, they put that black woman in green paint to play the Wicked Witch. It's not a racial. They're not humans.
Or Gamora.
Yeah, Gamora, they did that. Absolutely. Another,
And guess what? She was a great Gamora.
Yeah, she was perfect.
She was really good. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just get mad. But anyway, this character is Death. This is what she's there when you're born, and she's there when you die. And she's cheerful. She takes this appearance of this cute little goth chick. She's supposed to be a pleasant comfort. And if you see her, you're dead. So one of the things I liked was when the Death of Superman by Doomsday, they asked if, and this I don't understand, is why Neil Gaiman gets all of this preferential treatment. I mean, he made these characters for DC, but you got to ask permission. So they asked permission for Death to be in the Death of
probably
Superman.
said no.
And he said, is Superman dead? Is he never coming back? And they said, of course he's coming back. He said, then she can't be there, which I thought, bravo, 2 points for Gryffindor there. But, because for a little bit, she showed up in a really bad story in Captain Atom, but I just don't understand this sweetheart deal. That
DC apparently, well, it's like you've watched the Ask Chuck Dixon. They have all these weirdo deals that they can't let people. He was like Plastic Man and all sorts of different characters.
Right. Chuck Dixon said he wanted to use the Wraith, which was the anti-Batman. He only showed up in Batman Special #1. The Wraith, his father was a criminal who was killed by cops in an alleyway, and he grew up to be the ultimate criminal. He's literally
right. I remember that. That's the Michael Golden, Mike Barr character.
And they said that everybody wants to do a Wraith story, and DC said no, we're holding him for somebody. They won't say who. Dude, it's been 40, 50 years.
Well, now that person they're holding it for could be dead, or the editors have no idea who that guy is.
Right? Yeah, and, you know, they do a lot of sweetheart deals, and I don't know. Now these Neil Gaiman characters are probably radioactive. I don't want to bring up what happened to him. You can look it up. Look up Neil Gaiman controversy. You know.
Oh yeah, don't look it up. I mean, yeah, don't talk about it. You could get your channel struck.
But it's funny because, you know, I maybe in the late 90s I started to think I don't like Neil Gaiman. I don't like Neil Gaiman, you know. And then American Gods came out. My friends like, you got to read it. I'm like, I don't want to read any more Neil Gaiman. Like, I still like Sandman. I'm only going to dislike him. What do we got over here? I met Neil. Oh, he met him in 2010. He was pleasant enough. I'm sure he is. Had a friendly Twitter exchange with him once or twice. He wrote queer, gender diverse characters before his political. Yeah. And he created his own characters. He didn't take Superman and turn it, like, you know, make a gay character.
And there's nothing wrong with making gay characters,
right,
whatever.
Right.
That's fine. They're working strong.
Remember that character in the Defenders, the Cloud?
Yeah, that's funny that you
that was a
North Star
transy weirdo character. We never thought twice about it.
Cloud came out in the early 80s, maybe mid 80s, and Cloud was this being that was female, and it was a naked chick, but it had like a ring around the boobies and a ring around the pelvis.
She was young too. It wasn't.
And then it would turn into a cloud, and then when it reformed, it was male with the ring around the pelvis. It didn't need the ring around the boobies for some reason when it was male, and then it would turn into a cloud. And so every time it transformed, it would switch its gender. Now, here's the funny thing: it was a naked, hot chick for a long time. Bobby Drake, Iceman, fell in love with, or fell in lust with this hot naked chick, hitting on it. They're making out in the background, and then he turns into a cloud, or she turns into a cloud, does whatever Cloud does, and then reforms into a male, and Bobby breaks up with him. Now, if Bobby Drake was always the bisexual character that these lunatics say he was, Cloud would have been the ideal partner.
Right.
You know, I just have to laugh. These people don't know their comic book history. But you know who does know their comic book history? Matt Barr knows his comic book history. He's working on Rock and Roll Ninja 2. Me and Matt, we're working on a story together. And Matt, as soon as I'm done fulfilling, I'm getting it plotted in my head. We need to do a call so that we're on sync. I would hate to write this story and find out you don't like it, you know, because I really wanted. But Matt and I, he's one of the guys that we're going to collaborate on something. We'll figure out what to do. It's a funny idea. I want it to actually be like a family friendly, kind of humorous, tongue in cheek story, like a Mad Magazine kind of story. Yep, Matt knows his comics. Matt actually helped me come up with it's Clobbering time.
Right, I remember.
Matt, if you want to come in, I'll throw the invite out, and anybody can come in. Tonight we're talking about death-themed characters. So, I guess I exhausted the well as far as Neil Gaiman, but here's the one everybody knew I was going to pick. And I'm sure whatever I don't know, Marcus and Tony could fill in the gaps. But this is Will Eisner's The Spirit. Oh man, he actually looks fat in that picture. It looks like his belly is holding up his tie. Yeah, don't worry, Matt. The story we're going to work on is I pitched Matt a really hard R-rated story, and Matt was like, "Nope." And I don't blame you, Matt. I don't want anybody working on. I pitched a story to Ron Masicki, and I told him it's going to be pushing the boundaries as far as it's set in the Weimar Republic. So, you know, and it's set in a brothel in the so he was like, "That's fine. That's fine. I know what you're going for." But I don't want anybody doing anything that makes them uncomfortable. Basically, I told Arkham, make these people as naked as possible without showing anything.
I saw that drawing, and she's pretty naked.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which one am I?
They were a married couple sleeping in a sleeping bag after doing what mommies and daddies do when the monsters attack. So they're running around a tunnel naked pretty much for 3/4 of the story.
I had to place elbows, hair, and shadows over every nipple I could. Yeah. Every leg is like cross running weird, so things don't bounce around. So yeah.
Arkham is the opposite of Renzo. When I say, you know, cover it up, Arkham's is bending over backwards. When I say to Renzo, make it slightly cheeky, he throws in full frontal nudity, and I'm like, we got to change this. Yeah, this kind of stuff is weak to me. Like when J.K. Rowling said that Dumbledore was gay after the last book already came out.
Yeah,
that's not true.
It's like commit to the bit. Like,
yeah,
but if Chris Claremont said that Kitty Pryde was always
no way.
Yeah.
The only evidence that I could see for her being bisexual is she was like enamored by Storm, but she was enamored by Storm because Storm was this regal, powerful, majestic, like mother figure, but she never was sexually attracted to Storm.
And not only that is, you remember when Kitty and our Sprite back then, Sprite and Magic, they were always hanging out. They were both 14-year-old girls. Shit would have happened then. You know
right.
What I mean?
Right. I bet your Magic's probably also bisexual now too. Everybody is. X-Men. Tony, what do you got?
Remember, she was really, really into Saturnine in Excalibur.
Oh,
remember when Kitty Pryde first saw Saturnine, she was like, "Wow, who is that?"
Oh, really?
I think that's what people sort of use to justify that. But I agree with you. That was pretty stupid.
You know what? Then I stand corrected. I just know that she was always into a closet.
You know what? That's completely not true because Chris Claremont did not create Kitty Pryde. John Byrne did.
Oh, okay.
John Byrne created Kitty Pryde. Has been angry about the way Chris Claremont has written Really Pretty Cry for 50 years.
Yeah, well, I don't know they kind of feud back and forth all the time. I think they're both a little headstrong.
Yeah, and it's funny. They probably are some of the both two of the pig-headedest writers and artists on the planet, and they just made magic together.
Yeah, to the point. Oh, we got a visitor over here. We got the big doggy. All right, so we're going to talk about the Spirit. So the Spirit is Denny Colt. He was a criminologist in Central City. Central City is this, stand-in for New York City. And who was it? The buzzard that poisoned him or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a character that. No, it wasn't. Not the Cobra. There was somebody that like he made a potion and drank it to simulate death, and then they actually buried him in Wildwood Cemetery, and then he comes out, he puts on a mask. So now Denny Colt is dead, and that frees him to do what he needs to do to solve crimes, and he has no powers. Later on, like I'm talking like in like the 2000 series, they kind of hinted that this death kind of gave him like an enhanced endurance and maybe like a resistance to death itself. Like,
yeah, well,
but nobody. Arkham has to go. Okay, I need to take off Josimo before bed. Okay,
but I have to. When you say don't finish. I was just laughing at what they have to make an excuse that.
But nobody got beat up like Denny Colt, man.
No, right? They had to make an excuse because it was almost a cartoon beat up. I mean, before Wally Wood did all that, Will Eisner did all that. Where he
would get black eyes, he would get stabbed, he would get shot, he would get thrown off things and just like literally crawl, to finish everything. He was just like willpower and endurance were his things. But I like this character. Later on, Will Eisner regretted the mask. He kept trying to take the mask off, but the newspaper syndicate was like,
well,
no.
He never wanted to really create a superhero.
Right. So
he didn't really like superheroes all that much.
And then it was always the trope, like every woman fell for him. Like he was this dashing, good-looking Irish cop, and like Ellen Dolan was the girl next door. Beautiful, sexy, regular girl. There was Sans Serif, who was like a childhood friend, who was like the ex that got away kind of thing. And then there was Pigel that was just throwing herself at him, and even the Spirit was like, "You are bad news, lady." It was a lot of fun, and they were all drawn after famous movie stars. But I really like this. He had no powers. It was what Will Eisner did was there's people. To me, Will Eisner is one of the comic book creators that would be on the Mount Rushmore of comic book creators, and in order to get on that, like you had to like elevate the medium. Like I think like Will Gaines, I don't think like he's like one of the heroes of comic books that people don't talk about, but he like kind of created the comic book, and then there's Will Eisner, who elevated the medium. Like he made it like comic books were always trash garbage, and then Will Eisner wanted to make it theatrical, and what he did was he made these 8-page free inserts that were in the Sunday comics. So if you bought the newspaper on Sunday, you got this 8-page comic book.
That's right.
And of course, they're all collected. I got all of the kitchen sink hardcover reprints of them all. But every once in a while, I'll go to a comic convention and I'll see somebody with bagged and boarded actual inserts from the newspaper. And that's, to me, that's like seeing like the Constitution. Like that's American history to me. I freaking love that. But Will Eisner wanted to make it once a week, 8 pages, a complete story with full-on characterization. It's unbelievable what he was able to do. And this was a guy, he invented, like the lettering was part of the story. You know, the lighting, everything. To me, it was like seeing a Broadway play. And I think in my mind, comic books have been theatrical up until like 2000. I'll just throw out a number where they tried to make everything cinematic. And I don't know. I think comics, in my mind, I'm an old fart. I think comic books work better when you have like a theatrical approach to them rather than a cinematic approach to them. But that's just me. Anything I missed? Anything you want to clarify about the Spirit? Tony? I thought Tony was going to come in with an avalanche of information.
I like the Spirit, but it's more Marcus's thing. I'm a big fan of Will Eisner, but I like his quality comics work a little bit better.
Oh yeah, my favorite thing by Will Eisner is a Life Force. Hands down, I like it better than
he didn't do it all by himself.
Jules Pfeiffer.
You know, there was a time where he was laying it out. Other people were penciling him, and he was thinking only the heads. He had Andre LeBlanc, who was his co-teacher when I was there, and also a ghost artist for the Phantom. That's an ironic job, right? And
well, anybody
Flash
who writes
Gordon for the Barrys would be doing work for him, and now that's all broken down. And Joe Rosen, the famous artist, Sam Rosen, the brothers would ink letter for him. And you would see 13-year-old Joe Kubert colored those spirits.
And did you say Jack Kirby worked for him for a short while?
He did, but not on the Spirit. They worked. Well, he had a shop and he packaged comics with Joe Simon. Quality Comics, the head of Quality Comics came to Will and said, I want to put this insert in the newspapers. That was Busy Arnold. And so what they did is they had these shops that created the comics and then sold the comics to the various publishers. It wasn't the publishers didn't necessarily hire, I'm going to hire Marcus to draw the public eye, right? The Public Spirit, there we go. The public eye, monthly, for the next 3 years or something. Like they ended up doing, he had a shop and artists worked for him and Joe Simon. So Jack Kirby was one of the artists. George Tusker was one of the artists. It's in that one bio that he did with all the artists and changed all the names. It wasn't for long.
I just realized that it's almost 10 o'clock and I have another stream scheduled for 10 o'clock.
Oh, all right.
So I got to go and see. But at 10 o'clock, I'm going to do theology, Cooper, maybe Luke's going to pop in. It's an open invite stream if anybody wants to pop in. We're going to talk about Psalm 82. There's a couple of things I wanted to talk about. But I was so into this, I just lost track of time. So I'm sorry that I'm just leaving so fast. But I don't want, it's not fair to Cooper to wait. So thanks a lot.
Cooper wait.
4 minutes, and it's time to say goodbye, kids.